Should you buy the SpaceX stock? SpaceX just had the biggest IPO in the history of the stock market. $75 billion raised up, and the stock was 19% up on day one. And you might be trying to decide if you should board the rocket and buy into SPCX or not. Now, for me, here's my answer. And I'm backing it up with the data in today's video. But first, if you earn VTI or QQQ, I need to tell you something important about what just happened to your portfolio, because a lot of people are starting to panic right now, and they don't need to be. So yes, your index funds are actually going to own SpaceX. That's already happening, but here's the number that should calm you down immediately if you are worried about owning this stock at all. For every $100,000 that you have in VTI, which is the total stock market fund, roughly $110 is going into SpaceX. That's like 0.11%. For QQQ holders, it's a little bit higher because it's NASDAQ 100 focused on tech. It's about $680 per every $100,000. So that's roughly 0.68% of your overall holdings. And that's it. That's the total exposure here. Now here's the timing breakdown, because indexes don't all move at the same speed. Now when we talk about VTI, for example, it could add SpaceX as early as 5 trading days post-IPO. So we're talking about late June 2026. For the QQQ or QQQM, fast entry rule kicks in after 15 trading days. Now we're talking about early July. Now, what about VOO, SPY, S&P 500 funds? Well, that actually is a little bit different. That's not going to happen until at least mid-2027. So if you are in a pure S&P 500 fund like the VOO or SPY, you don't have to worry about this or even think about this until 2027. And by then, the IPO mania will have settled in, and we'll actually have real performance data on this company. The bottom line on your index funds, it's nothing to do, nothing to worry about, nothing to panic. Let the system do exactly what it's supposed to do, and you'll earn your tiny proportional slice of one of the world's biggest companies. But what if you are wanting to, in your fund account, buy SpaceX directly? Well, here's the thing about IPOs that you need to know about. A lot of you have told me that you've been burned on the past on IPOs. A lot of you have referenced the Robinhood IPO of 2021, and research consistently shows that IPOs underperform the market by an average of 2 to 3% per year. 4 out of 5 IPOs underperform a small cap stock index over time. And this info comes from decades of academic research, including work by somebody named Jay Ritter at the University of Florida, who has actually tracked IPO performance going back to the 1970s. But I want to get serious about how we're going to compare this IPO, so let's look at the ones most comparable to SpaceX, which is the biggest IPOs in history. So before this company, the 10 biggest IPOs ever raised a combined $180+ billion. Here's what happened to the investors who bought in on day one. 3 of those 10 were negative at the 5-year mark. A fourth spent most of its first 5 years below the offer price. Saudi Aramco, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, the previous record holder for the biggest IPO ever, is actually still down 13% from its IPO price as of this year. Now, of course, even though there are the bad news, there are still outliers. Take a look at this. Visa IPO'd in 2008 during the financial crisis and has nearly returned 2,900% from its offer price. But Visa's business model was uniquely positioned. It doesn't extend credit, it earns fees on payment volume. It was essentially insulated from the exact crisis that it IPO'd into. Now, SpaceX is a very different animal here. Here are the numbers from SpaceX's own prospectus. Take a look at this right here. So you can see the 2025 revenue at $18.7 billion, adjusted EBITDA $6.6 billion, and net income negative $4.9 billion. What's really carrying SpaceX right now is actually connectivity, $11.4 billion. That is an operating profit of 39% margin based on Starlink. Now that is the key here. Starlink is what's carrying the company. As far as space exploration, that's actually down. Look at that operating loss right there. And then the bigger loss is actually xAI, the AI that is powering Grok is losing money. So overall, the net income, as you can see here in 2025, is actually down. A little bit of profit here in 2024 and a negative in 2023. What we need to make sure of, if you want to invest and be an owner of this company, is do you feel that this company will continue to perform and turn around from the negative to the positive? If you're worried about that, this may not be the company for you. This is based on the trust that Elon Musk and his company will continue to grow and make up the valuation miss here. Now, I'm going to butcher this name, so I'm going to put it up on the screen without having to pronounce it. This guy right here, known as the Dean of Valuation on Wall Street, put his fair value estimate at roughly 1.22 trillion. Morningstar came in even lower at 780 billion. Now, either way, those two analysts, that's a significant premium on the price that we're paying right now at the IPO price. So if this guy is right, the typical QQQ holder loses 0.21% from SpaceX exposure. The typical VTI holder loses 0.03%. Painful? Barely, because that's actually a good thing, right? It's barely any type of pain on your index funds. But if you're buying the stock directly on day one, if that's part of your individual stock holdings, you're down 31% in that scenario before the stock has even moved at all. And here's what makes SpaceX different from every other mega cap in your portfolio. And these three things are where I think we need to keep our eye on the game, because right now, as of today, the stock's going up. If you bought in on Friday, over the weekend into Monday, you're probably up and you're feeling good. That's a good thing. This is a short-term play for sure. But long-term, you decide to hold on to this company thinking it'll continue to rise. Here are some key considerations. Number two, I think, is the most significant consideration. But first, this has a single founder dependency. Tesla stock and profits took a significant hit in 2025 when Elon Musk shifted his attention to Doge. SpaceX is arguably even more dependent on Musk's vision and relationships, particularly with the government contracts. Will that focus of a CEO who's really a CEO of two major companies going to continue to provide the vision that will continue to send this stock price even higher? The second one, the big one, the float problem. SpaceX went public with only about 4% float. Now, what that means is that 96% of shares that are available are actually locked up. And when those insider lockup windows open, the selling pressure could be significant. Here's something that most people don't realize about any IPO. When SpaceX started trading, only about 4% of the company was actually available to buy. The other 96% was held by the early employees, the venture funds, and the executives. It's locked up and it can't be sold yet at all. That matters because the supply and demand sets the price. Right now, you're bidding on 4% of the company when you buy in today. Starting in August of 2026, that supply starts growing. And the people selling into that growing supply bought at valuations a fraction of today's price. So they don't need the stock to go higher. It already popped from their initial gift, what they already own. They just need it to stay high enough, long enough, that they can sell after the lockup period. We see this a lot in IPOs, and a lot of times when that happens, you'll see the stock price over time dip back down before it eventually, hopefully, recovers. This is a big deal, which means that when we see August hit, September hit, and October hit of this year, that's when we really want to pay attention to the stock price of SpaceX, which means as that lockup period releases over certain periods of time in this next year ahead, we may see some significant unfavorable price action as these early people start cashing in. Very big deal. Next, it's priced for perfection. It rose to a $2.1 trillion market cap on day one. And the market is already pricing in SpaceX becoming the dominant force in satellite internet, commercial space, and Mars colonization. And of course, AI as well. You're not getting in early. You're actually getting in after the smart money has already made their returns. After these employees, which is amazing, they became millionaires overnight. But let me tell you something. I became a millionaire. And I no longer have a job, not because I chased the latest hot stock or got in early on an IPO. It's because I trust the math of index investing over any single story. My portfolio doesn't need SpaceX. SpaceX is going to need to earn a place in my portfolio by proving that its fundamentals over the next few years are strong. And if it does, guess what? My VTI and QQQ are going to own it automatically. If only then this company becomes powerful enough to earn a spot in my 5% of individual stocks that I own, then I'll consider it. But because of the valuation and trajectory over time, I don't think it ever will. For most of you watching, especially if you're 35 to 55 years old and building toward your own version of financial independence and financial freedom, the question isn't, should I buy SpaceX? The question is, do I want to speculate with money that I've already worked so hard to build so I can get to that millionaire status as well? History says the answer is probably no. The 19% first day pop, well, that's excellent premium. The institution premium, the hype premium, and historically the retail investor is the last one to the party and the first one to hold the bag when the party ends. Now, if you want to own SpaceX, I understand the appeal, I really do. Own it through your index funds. Let the market determine the right price over time. And if SpaceX does become the next Visa, your VTI and QQQ will reflect that. But if you're thinking about putting a significant chunk of your savings into SpaceX because, you're watching the stock pop, you're hearing it on YouTube, and you're thinking this is going to be the next big thing, you got to watch this video over again, especially that part about how important it is when that lockup starts releasing. The data isn't exciting, but it's what keeps you financially independent. And that's the whole point. I'll never forget when people were pushing Robinhood when it first launched. And they were like, this is going to be it. I'm going all in. They put a lot of money. Some people actually sold out of their VOO and their VTI in order to directly buy Robinhood. Take a look at the price of what happened over a period of time thereafter. This is a significant thing to keep in mind. If you want to build a financially free portfolio, we do it the right way. That's what we're about here on the channel. It's time to embrace your freedom through Sharpe money. The number on the screen today is very loud. The data is quiet, and I'll take quiet every time. If that's how you think too, make sure you join us here on this channel. Check out this video next, and we'll see you on the next video.